Cool. Do you have a favorite weapon? Do I have a favorite? Yeah. Not tell me what it's the first one. Really? Yeah. No, you'll see it. You won't be surprised. All right.
Should we have them come up here and sit so that's less time?
What's that?
Should we have the candidates come
Oh,
and
yeah,
sit
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
less time?
Yes, we absolutely should. I think. Yeah.
Catherine, all the candidates, can we come sit up here?
I know.
You could this way because I'm in the frame too, so
I think
you can move a little bit.
I need hold on in my notepad in my
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is it working? We're checking for the online.
I don't know if she told you. She's like 6 months pregnant, so she may just.
So Sarah, I'm here.
Yes.
Thanks, Jewel. Thanks, Jewel. Where do you live?
I live on South.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And do you have children too?
2 kids, yeah.
Where do they go to school? Here.
They actually are old enough.
Oh, okay.
My
Okay.
2.5-year-old will some will be in a couple years.
Yeah, you're zoned for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Where are you zoned for, Sarah? Here.
Over there.
Lucky you. Well, Brendan just
Right
told
here,
me
right here.
he intentionally moved to this district to send his kids. This school's amazing.
Oh yeah, people try to get in. Like, yeah, I'm excited.
Every student who graduates PS28, for the most part, gets the school of their choice. Yeah. She was undecided.
Hello? Hello? Hey, can everybody hear me? Hey guys. Hey, sorry. Just if people can just take their seats, we'd like to kick off. We've got a lot to get through, so helpful if people can make that easy by getting seated. So thank you so much, everybody who's here with us in person, and for people who are tuning into live stream. And a special thanks to our candidates here. I'll just introduce them briefly, and then if you guys give them a very quick round of applause. We've got Veronica Kezua with Team Solomon, Patrick Ambrosi with Team Ali. I'll go through all of them. Patrick Ambrosi with Team Ali. Elvin Dominici with Team O'Day. Independent Jake Efros.
This is where all the people.
And Catherine Healy with Team McGreevy. So we've got a lot to get through, like I said. We're going to dice the show up into these 3 main segments. Hopefully we get everything done at the end because we need to be out of here soon enough to be able to clean up. Sorry, the hand raised? No, not for me. Okay. So first thing, huge shout out to Dave Lambert. He works with the Waterfront Music Play Center. where they do incredible work, family music shows. He also does lessons. Unfortunately, his band, the Fuzzy Lemons, has now retired, so you won't be able to get him, but you can hire him for doing events. So please give a shout out to Dave, who's doing our audio. He's awesome, incredible help. I'm terrible at this.
Just leave that screen up.
Another group of people who made this possible, a dedicated group of volunteers with representatives from the Nitty Gritty Social Club, the Riverview Neighborhood Association, the Pershing Field Neighborhood Association, Heights Community Coalition, JC Heights Parents, and JC Policy Circle. Especially want to thank the incredible Philippia Varsta, without whom this would be completely impossible. If you guys could please give a round of applause as well. And thanks to all the other names up here. So as you guys may know, if you're here, local elections are critical things. The people who are elected here in the mayor's office and in the other wards and at large are going to be incredibly impactful for your life. They are incredibly important for things like your personal safety, your kids' education, what your streets look like, the amounts you pay in rent, the value of your home, all sorts of things that are incredibly important. Many ways are more important in the state or even the federal government. So these elections are really important. We don't just have the election, the people ward election. This is elections basically for the entire city council as well as the mayorship. And on top of that, we have the 3 Board of Education seats that are up out of 9, and we have the Hudson County Sheriff. So if you, we'll post this online. You guys can take a look at this link to find your polling station. So please make sure to participate because your vote is really critical. Some ground rules. This is just a forum. It's not a debate. So we're hoping to keep it civil. The candidates will answer their own questions. Don't attack each other. Please be respectful. And audience members, please keep it quiet. No applause. No verbal insults to the people or candidates, please. Hopefully that should be obvious. We'll be pretty strict with time limits, so please keep it brief. An extra credit if you actually don't take your entire time. So candidates, please just keep seated the entire time just because we're trying to keep it snappy. And with that, I will pass it over to our incredible moderator, Sarah.
Hello, welcome candidates, and thank you for being here. We're going to start with opening statements. Please let us know a little bit about your background, your vision for Ward D, and any measurable goals you'll set for yourself as our council person. You have 3 minutes, starting with Veronica.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off by just thanking our hosts again. That's the Heights Community Coalition, Jersey City Heights Parents, RNA, PFNA, Jersey City Policy Circle, and the Nitty Gritty. And thank you to the Krista McAuliffe School for letting us use this space. These debates are so important for our democracy, and I'm really happy to be here. I want to thank you all for coming in person or joining us virtually. And of course, I want to thank all the Ward D candidates up here that are running in this race. We may be political opponents, but we're stepping up to make Ward D a better place and doing that the best way we know how. And for that, I have a profound respect. Without further ado, my name is Veronica Akezwa, and I'm running for City Council to represent Ward D on the Team Solomon slate. I'm currently a policy and advocacy contractor with a public interest law firm. I am a community advocate, and I am the daughter of a Nigerian immigrant. I moved to the Heights over a decade ago with my now husband, Adrian, who is here. And we were drawn here for the same reasons that so many are: the diversity, the neighborhood feel, the small businesses, and the strong civic spirit that shows up in our civic, park, and community groups. We put roots here in Jersey City, and we're going to grow those roots. My husband and I are soon to be parents. I am 5 months pregnant, and this is another testament that women can do it all. So I'm running for city council because we need change. Too many of our neighbors are being priced out of their homes. People don't feel safe moving around the Heights, whether on foot, by bike, by bus, or by car. We are dealing with crumbling infrastructure and trash piling up in our streets. New building go up, so do our property taxes and rents, but we don't feel or see the benefits of any of these improved services. Enough is enough. Our city works when rules are enforced fairly, not when developers and slumlords get special treatment at the expense of residents. City leadership ignores violations and passes ordinances that are sometimes tilted towards developers, and enough of this pay-to-play politics and backroom dealing. My vision for the Heights is one where government works for everyone and development and growth works for everyone. It's a model of designing solutions for the people and with the people. What sets me apart in this race is I'm not just talking about reform and pragmatic leadership, I've already lived it. And something to note about Team Solomon is we are not taking campaign donations from major real estate developers. Thank you. I will pass this on to Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick Ambrosi. I'm a lifelong Jersey resident, a first-generation Ecuadorian American, and I'm a proud graduate of public schools. I graduated from this very school here, PS 28. I went to County Prep High School, Montclair State University, and I have a master's in public administration from St. Peter's University. Alongside that, I have a decade's worth of governmental experience within the city of Jersey City and the county of Hudson. What I am most proud of is the work that we've done in the community. Unlike others here, I don't have a famous last name. However, that has not stopped me from giving back to the community every single day. As a former board member of the Jersey City Reservoir Preservation Alliance, I have advocated for the restoration, activation, and full opening of this great urban oasis. As a trustee of the Jersey City Parks Coalition, I've worked to improve our open space, increase our tree canopy, and sustainability within our city. My time with former Councilman Michael Yoon has allowed me to work with our seniors and residents in need. But what I'm the proudest of is my work at Leonard Gordon Park, or Mosquito Park as many call it. Back in 2012, the playground was burnt down and the city left it there for a full year. And this was very upsetting because of course you saw kids on a slide next to a burnt playground. And it took a year for the city to remove it. And it took another year of fighting with the city to get a playground back in its place. And that park was left abandoned for about 30 years without zero capital improvements, just simply rotting away. And I'm proud to say that is no longer the case. Today, the park has more lighting, walkways you can actually walk on, and sustainability elements that have improved water retention and addressing flooding for neighbors on Liberty Avenue. We have more work to be done, but the neighbors can tell you, the park today is very different than it was for most of my life. So why am I running for Ward D City Council? I'm running because the city has become a city of high taxes and low services. You go out to Central Avenue and you see vacant storefronts, 99-cent stores, and a bunch of cannabis shops. After trash day, we find trash all over our streets. Our public transportation options are subpar, with increased wait time and buses that never arrive. All this while taxes have increased 40% over the last 5 years and rents have skyrocketed. Throughout this forum, I look forward to showcasing that I am the only candidate with the knowledge, track record, and ideas to move Ward D forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the RNA and the JC High parents and the other organizations that put together this great event. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Elvin Dominici Encarnacion. I'm a proud Latino from the Dominican Republic that came to this country 25 years ago with my family in order to pursue what we call the American dream. My first job in the country was at a car wash. I was making about $200 per week, and within a year, I became a father. So it was very hard for me to start, but I knew that I got to do better. I'm very proud to say my son was born in Christ Hospital, and with time, I went to school. I went to Hudson County Community College, where I started my ESL classes, level 1, and with hard work and dedication, I was able to earn 2 masters. I have a master's in finance, and I have a master in accounting, and I have worked in the financial industry for the last 20 years. I stand before you here because I want to represent the diversity that represent Ward D. And my vision for Ward D is very simple. there are a platform that we want to talk about tonight. Number one is affordability. We want to make sure that rent controls are embraced and enforced so tenants have a right to stay in our city. We want to work with the city government in order to ensure that the inclusionary zoning ordinance that allow developers to come to our neighborhoods is increased for 10% affordable, which is not implemented right now, most cases, to 20% affordable housing. That's going to allow people that were in Jersey City before developers to stay here. Something that is very important to us is that when developers come to our neighborhoods to talk about these projects, we need to find ways to have this conversation about how the project is going to affect our community, which benefits are we going to get for these projects, and how much affordable housing we want to need. Also, I want to make sure that we get workforce housing, so teachers, firefighters, police officers get a chance to be here. The second part of the platform is public safety. When we talk about public safety, we want to make sure that police is patrolling throughout the world, not only in cars, but we want them to be in bikes, motorbikes, so they can get to the emergency a little faster. We want a full staff JCPD department, because right now they are not fully staffed, and that's part of the issue when enforcement is not being done. And lastly, we want to make sure that when somebody called the 911 department, the responses are actually done on time. Now, when we talk about quality of life, one of the main things that we want to resolve is the problem with garbage. We got over 1,500 complaints within a year. We want to divide the city in 4 different zones so we can get 4 different vendors to pilot whether they deliver, clean the streets, and providing the service. I want to provide at least 180 garbage containers so people can provide services and clean the streets every day. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being here.
Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you so much to the organizers of this event. Really grateful to be up here with all the other candidates tonight. My name is Jake Efros. I am a teacher over at St. Peter's University. Been teaching at Hudson County Community College as well. I'm a tenant over on Sherman Avenue. I am a union organizer, and I am the only independent candidate in the Ward D City Council race. I am running because Jersey City should be a city that works for working class people. And this campaign is all about tackling the incredible cost of living crisis while winning the quality of life that we deserve through a platform of universal rent control and housing as a human right, universal child care, and fully funding our public schools and winning safe, clean, green streets with great mass transit that works for working people. Now, I have been long politically active before I was a candidate. I mean, in high school, I was protesting then Governor Chris Christie's attacks on public schools and public educators. I have stood with immigration justice activists to shut down the ICE jail that was here in Hudson County, and I led the campaign for a tenant's right to legal defense that we won here in Jersey City just a couple years ago. Wherever there is injustice, thank you. Wherever there is injustice, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to stand on the side of working class people fighting to win more of what we deserve, right? And when we fight, we can win. And for me, there's no more important place to make that fight happen than right here in our community. A little over a year ago, before this whole campaign started, I attended a meeting hosted by Jersey City Together, a faith-based organization fighting for housing justice, education justice, and so much more. We have some Jersey City Together activists here in the audience right now. Shout out to them. And I met one of our neighbors here in the Heights. She was talking about the incredible, egregious attacks on her rent-controlled building by a slumlord that bought it, was driving the residents away by doing things like putting rotten fish in the building just to clear out that rent-controlled building. That being said, the residents, the tenants stood up, they fought back. I was really grateful to be standing alongside them for some of those chapters in their fight. And this story is exactly why I'm running for city council. Stories like our neighbors fighting back and winning more of what we deserve is exactly what we need to replicate across this city. When our city is giving tax breaks to billionaire corporate developers like the Kushners, but working class homeowners are struggling to pay property taxes, we need to stand up, we need to fight back and win more of what we deserve. That is what our independent campaign for council has been doing since day one, and I hope to continue doing that when we get on city council after November. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Shout out to my opponents here. We have become friends throughout this process. And it's so nice that we're all involved in this because we all do want the same thing for the Heights. Some of us just have a different way of getting there. So my name is Catherine Healy. I'm here in the Heights, 44 years. I'm an attorney. I went to Seton Hall Law School. I met my husband at the bar exam review course. We got married. I have 3 children, ages 13, 11, and 4. I coach at Washington Park Little League. I've been coaching up there for the last 10 years. I run a nonprofit to educate inner city girls, to give them private scholarships to St. Dominic's Academy. As you all know, the ratings just came out the other day for the Jersey City public schools. And luckily in the Heights, where we have phenomenal grammar schools. Unfortunately, Dickinson High School is the worst high school in Jersey City now. So that is where the Heights is zoned for. We are going to fix that. We're gonna revamp everything. We need better recreation for our children. We have no sports programs here in Jersey City. The only sports programs we have are private. The legendary Coach Hurley runs a private clinic downtown. Washington Park Little League here in the Heights does a phenomenal job. They are also private. You go to Union City and the city offers these tremendous programs for their youth. In fact, they even let our Jersey City Heights children participate in their programs. So we appreciate that generosity from Union City. Just yesterday, I was endorsed by Mayor Brian Stack. Our whole ticket was endorsed by Stack. And I am so honored to have this endorsement because he is such a hard worker. His streets are clean, his police respond, his schools are phenomenal. All of the children who graduate his Union City High School, they're all going to huge universities. And these are first-generation Americans. These are children whose parents never went to college. And he is affording the poorest of the poor population the best opportunities possible. We're gonna do that right here in the Heights. We're gonna do clean streets. We're gonna stabilize taxes, stabilize rent. We're gonna fix our parks. Our parks are not in the best shape. We need to restore the historic bathrooms of Leonard Gordon Park and install clean drinking water to get off plastic bottles. Thank you.
Okay, question 1. In Ward D, especially, residents have complained for decades about the dirty streets. What do you think are the key bottlenecks that are keeping our possums fed? What's your plan for eliminating them, and when should we expect a material improvement? If your proposal is for more financial investment, please give a sense of how much. You have 90 seconds. Patrick starts. Yes.
So look, I don't think I have to tell anyone that there is a garbage issue in Jersey City, but specifically on Central Avenue and in every single residential neighborhood that we have here in Ward D. After garbage night, it feels like they took the garbage, just threw it out on the streets for us to pick up. And again, our taxes have raised up 40% in the last 5 years. I have to say, what do we get for that? So one of the things we want to make sure that we're doing is that we're bringing in the municipal pickup to the city of Jersey City. So that way then we're able to create more jobs by hiring Jersey City locals, and also requiring that commercial districts change the way that they dispose of refuse. We want to have large bin containers, just like they do in New York City, to make sure that bins, that garbage are not blowing away in the wind, can't be tampered with. And then when it comes to garbage pickup, easy to pick up. On top of that, we want to make sure we have enforcement. to make sure that people aren't illegally dumping and making sure that they're disposing of refuse property. So I think that's time and that.
Listen, I mean, everybody knows there is a problem in Ward D with garbage, but it's not just about promising, it's having an actual plan that can solve the issue. This is the plan. What we want to do, as I was saying before, we want to divide the city in 4 different zones so we can contract these garbage collector companies, and we can do a pilot program, at least for a year, so we can see how they do, whether they clean after themselves, they have meetings with the community, we can have complaints, they can listen, they can resolve those issues. Another thing that we want to do, we want to bring back the neighborhood improvement division. This division is going to be in charge of hiring people that can come twice a day to collect garbage throughout the streets, put in those 180 containers that we're going to put throughout the district. That is going to cost between $600,000 to $500,000, and making sure that the streets are clean. Also, one thing that I want to do is that maybe we can sweep if we keep the streets clean just once a week, so parking is conserved for people and people don't need to go parking every other day. So these are the things that we can do. Also, enforcement is a big issue, making sure that businesses and even people, and the people also that go out with dogs and they don't clean after the dogs, we want to make sure that they get fines and they can actually do their job. So let's work together to make that happen coming November. Thank you.
Our campaign has an office right on Central Ave in Sherman Place, just up from Pershing Field. So we, every day when we go to and from the office, we see how dirty Central Ave can get. I mean, the entire Heights slopes everywhere is afflicted by this. Right now, we have a contract with Regional Industries. It is a private garbage company that we have paid $77.5 million over the last 5 years to do a bad job for us. This is unacceptable, especially when Regional Industries the president is giving donations to some major political figures in our city, right? So this is about accountability. We need to remunicipalize our trash service like we used to have before the Regional Industries contract. That means bringing our trash services back in-house, running them as a city so that we can have public oversight over them. This is a public service and we deserve to have more control over it. Right? We also should have way more garbage cans throughout. Again, using the $77.5 million we've been spending on a private trash contract, have more garbage cans throughout the entire Heights and slopes, more cans on the street corners, containerization of garbage cans as well, having the city provide better cans with lids to residents to make sure that there's not just these bags being split open on the sidewalks overnight, right? In addition, I completely agree, half the street sweepers invest in people doing spot cleaning up and down.
So for cleaner streets, we need to invest in part-time workers who are retired, because this is what works in Union City, and have these guys and girls, whoever, cleaning up our streets, specifically in the tertiary streets. We also need more garbage cans along Central, Summit. The Boulevard has no garbage cans. When we walked from our house all the way to Pershing Field, there were 0 garbage cans. That's about 1 mile. That's unacceptable for a city. We have to start lining our garbage cans because they're filthy, they're loaded with bugs. It'll streamline the cleanup. We also need to implement a course in our schools here in Jersey City, teaching our children how to reduce, reuse, recycle, teaching our children how to stop the drop, and they will then bring that home to their parents, and that's how we change society. That's how we get everybody on board. But the public schools don't have that right now. We can implement, we can start cleanup contests and incentivize the children. Whoever cleans up the most garbage at this park, they get a $100 gift card. And we can involve the teachers and the principals. Thank you.
So the joke is, if you want to know how your local government is performing, you want a quick look under the hood, take a look around at the streets. So we see that we have trash piling up everywhere. It means our city's not working for us on delivering basic services. And the reason why things aren't changing has a lot to do with corruption. It was mentioned before, Regional Industries is donating to some of the politicians here, and things don't change. So they stay contracted with the city, right? This is another reason why Team Solomon is not taking money from major developers and major contractors, okay? We have to break this cycle. We do need to consider bringing garbage collection in-house. It would be a high upfront cost, but down the line, it would save us millions in dollars. We do need more trash cans on the street with fixed lids. We need to prioritize high traffic areas, so Central Avenue, the major corridors. And if people need trash cans, the city should be able to provide them with the tools that they need to keep their neighborhoods clean. We also do need more garbage collectors.
Time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're actually going to answer the next question
Okay,
first,
I'll
so
keep the mic.
keep it. Okay, our second question is about housing. It's two parts, and part one is multiple choice, so you'll have a time to expand on the second part. Jersey City should be growing much slower, about the same as now, faster, as fast as people want to move here. Veronica, you start.
Okay, so our major issue we need to
Just-
tackle.
It's multiple choice because we'll be expanding on the next
Oh,
follow-up question.
Okay, so do I keep this after the multiple choice question? Is it a?
No, it will go to Patrick.
Got it. Okay, so Jersey City should be.
Much slower, about the
So we
same
need-
as now,
We
faster.
need to slow growth down. It depends, we can't just generalize all across the city, but we need to slow growth down
can
in
pass
Ward,
it.
in Ward D.
Okay, you can pass it.
So just a question. Just that question.
Jersey, you need to repeat the question?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I can't see the screen.
Jersey City should be open to growing much slower, about the same as now, faster, as fast as people want to move here. It's just multiple choice. Just answer, and then the next question will be expanding on that answer.
Sure, I'm gonna go about the same as now.
Pass, yeah.
Agree. About the same as now.
Okay.
As fast as people want to move here.
Much slower.
Okay. Part two, housing. This is a lengthy question, so. High demand cities with minimal zoning have realized low rents but have a lot of development. Example, Austin. High demand cities with strict zoning have seen rents skyrocket but have minimized development. San Francisco, New York City. Way more people want to live here than we have homes for. Which city or cities are best at managing housing demand? Either from the examples above or ones you're aware of. Which policy or policies of theirs would you borrow? If your proposal is for more financial investment, including tax abatements, please give us a sense of how much. You have 90 seconds, and this will be Elvin. Starting first, sorry. Do you need me to repeat it, Elvin?
All right, I'm gonna answer.
Okay.
All right, we know for sure that there is a lot of developer coming to Jersey City and Ward D. You have seen the duplex, looks condos that are everywhere in Ward D. So I don't know how much affordable housing we can get out of that. For me, it's very simple. We gotta work with the city government and have the right leadership to make sure that going forward, we can provide affordable housing for the community. The question is a little, crowded with different things, but at the end of the day, as a council person, the most important thing is enforce rent control, make sure that right to council is a place to protect tenants, provide affordable housing, and provide workforce housing for police officers, teachers, and firefighters in our city. Thank you.
So I'll expand on the reason I just gave to that question before. I mean, I don't think we can control the rate at which people are going to come here. I think we can control how development happens in Jersey City. That's what we need to hold developers accountable to, is the way in which development happens, and it is not happening democratically in our city. So some of the policies that we're pursuing are universal rent control to make sure that every single tenant has those same equal protections under the law against egregious rent increases. We should also set our sights on dignified public social housing. Now, that is a major investment that is going to be years out, but we need to be setting aside money starting now for it, and we can begin planting some seeds with vacancy tax on empty properties and units. We need to be planting seeds with our Affordable Housing Trust Fund. When I led the campaign for a tenants' right to counsel, what we did was we got developers to be paying money into our city's Affordable Housing Trust Fund in addition to getting money secured for funding the Right to Counsel office. So these are some different tools that we can use in addition to agencies like Economic Development Corporation, right? We should be using to put our North Star on actual social, dignified public housing, in addition to vastly expanding the IZO requirements for new affordable housing in new developments.
Thank you. So with regard to our single and two-family homes, which are mostly in the Heights, I believe we need to slow that development. There's too much of developers coming in and destroying historic homes and converting a beautiful two-family Victorian with original stained glass windows, knocking it down to put up a brand new condo just because the developer is going to make 1.1. Meanwhile, a middle-class family would have purchased that home for $600,000. That needs to slow down. Also, it directly affects our quality of life here as citizens. We, as residents, have been ignored. Our quality of life keeps going down as the costs keep going up. And I do feel we've been ignored, and the city has just done everything for the developers. On the other ends of that is we are short on low-income housing. We recall that we did eliminate all of those high-rise projects, Duncan projects. We eliminated all of those. So we do have to rebuild low-income housing quickly. We can build it on city land, and there are major federal funds out there that we just need to apply for to support that community. Thank you.
Veronica.
So the number one issue, the crisis facing residents today, is affordability. People are getting priced out of their homes. Property taxes are going up. In Ward D, most of our affordable housing does come from the rent-controlled 2 to 6 family buildings. And as Catherine mentioned, speculative developers are coming in, tearing these down, and they're replacing them with condos, each priced at $1 million+. And mind you, these condos don't trigger any of the inclusionary zoning ordinances or the housing overlay. So they are too weak. We need to strengthen these. We need stronger, uniform, affordable housing requirements. We need to limit tax abatements. We need to limit giving excessive tax breaks to the real estate developers that then makes the burden of cost on the residents. We need to give nonprofits and the city tools to acquire and preserve housing before these speculators come in. And I've actually written plans like community land trusts, which are a proven model to take land out of the speculative market and keep it permanently affordable. We also need to support our tenant associations so renters know their rights. James Solomon helped to pass a right to counsel.
Can you pass to Patrick?
Sure.
So housing is a major crisis.
Over the last few years, we've seen rapid development, but what we need in Ward D is responsible development. I'd like to see a Ward D that's a model of inclusive urbanism, where families of all incomes can stay here. Kids can walk safely, small businesses can thrive, and our streets and roads can belong to everyone. So how are we going to do this? First, we introduced a community land bank so that we can take abandoned and vacant properties to build more affordable housing. We also need to be transparent with our rent control laws, our rent control ordinances. So what we want to do is we want to require the publication of wherever there are rent control units, publicize their availability, and put that through the city's affordable housing website. We also need to build. I do believe that we need to upzone to allow for 5 stories on commercial corridors and near transportation hubs. And that will not only work to create more affordable housing, but will also create foot traffic and investment on our commercial districts. We will attach the upzoning with pre-approved building sets that will dictate the styles and buildings so that they can match the characters of our communities. And we have to hold everyone equal. Residents of Sherman Place recently noticed that a developer was able to get various permits in under 3 weeks. However, if you were going to renovate your kitchen, it'd take you about 6 months to get the permits. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure we hold everyone to equal footing. And I want to tell the residents of Sherman Place that when I am Ward D City Council
Okay,
President,
that is
we
time.
will
Thank you.
make it a historic
you.
district. Thank you.
Okay, question 3 is about parking. Way more people want off-street parking than we can have spots for. What's your plan for rationing parking? If your proposal is for more financial investment, please give a sense of how much. You have 90 seconds and we're starting with Jake.
So I've done every kind of commute to work imaginable. I've driven, I've taken the bus, I've biked, I've walked, path, light rail, you name it. I know how much it sucks to come home, circle the block 1,000 times at night just to find a parking spot. That being said, the number one serious solution to parking congestion is investing in mass transit immediately. And this means working at the level of Trenton and NJ Transit to make sure that they are responsive to our community. And as a city council person, I will be active in that fight because truly we cannot create more space on our streets indefinitely. We have to invest in alternatives. And if you are a person who relies on your car 100%, you want to make sure your neighbor does not have to rely on their car so you don't have to compete against them for a parking place. Maybe compromises can be made along the way in the interim as we're fighting for more and better bus service through things like a local municipal transit council. But a parking deck over Burger King, potentially, that's just going to be a Band-Aid. What we really need to do is get serious about our 119 buses, our 123 buses, our 86 buses, our 87s, right? We need these desperately and we need them now. That is the only ultimate solution for our parking congestion issues.
I agree with Jake on that. Our public trans, we need major improvements with New Jersey Transit. They are unreliable. We did discuss maybe doing like an elevated train, and they said it would be way too totally unaffordable. So we would need a tremendous grant from the feds to be able to implement something like that. So in the meantime, we're stuck with the buses. We could do a fast lane, which is already being explored, and I think the county is implementing that, a fast lane on Kennedy Boulevard for buses, an express lane. And they're about to unfold that soon. Parking. For parking, we need to paint out the parking spot lines because we have too many people taking up 3 spots when we could fit many more cars on that block. What else we can do is we can have each resident register their vehicle. If you have 1 vehicle, it's $150. If you have 2 vehicles to register your second vehicle, it's $1,000, and disincentivize homes from having too many vehicles. Thank you.
Veronica.
Parking is a top concern for Jersey City Heights residents, especially those living on the western slope. But the answer is really to improve our public transportation system. And we do that again by increasing reliability and consistency with the New Jersey Transit buses and connectivity too from Ward D to other parts of the city. We do not have a major hub like a PATH station, so we need to make sure that our bus lines are running frequently and are connecting people to the places where they need to go. And we also need to invest in other forms of transportation as mentioned. So I would support the expansion of a bike lane north-south in the Heights. I think that would really help with not only transportation, but public safety. And, we also do need to take other concerns that people on the Western Slope have. These streets are very steep, so I would support lines on the street, like Catherine was talking about, to better control the available parking there. I would support bus rapid transit as well to help increase our
Time.
alternative
Thank you.
safety transportation methods.
Okay, so yes, parking is important. However, if you want to keep your car, the most important thing to do is actually invest in public transportation. And so, look, yes, we can continue to advocate for NJ Transit to improve their services. And yes, we should. Yes, we can continue to ask PATH to improve wait times. And yes, we should. And we can do the same thing with the Hudsonburg and Light Rail. But all we're doing at the end of the day is just asking. What we need to do as a city is we need to invest in public transportation ourselves. We need to invest in our own city-run bus line that's going to help connect communities, and we're able to make them fast through a transponder and through the BRT lanes, right? At the end of the day, if we're able to connect our communities and not be at the whim of these outside agencies, we'll be able to see our commercial districts thrive. We'll be able to connect community members together to transportation hubs and other areas of the city. So again, we want to establish a city-run bus line. We want to be proactive about it. Thank you.
Everybody knows that we have a parking problem, and there is a lot of promises that are being tried here so people can like what they're saying, but the reality is how we're going to do this. I actually participated in a meeting with the RNA and the director of the DOT, where conversations were talked about having rapid lanes for buses and ghosting buses that come 3 and 4 at the same time. Unfortunately, some of the infrastructure that we have in the city do not allow to have those rapid lanes. Yes, we want to invest in more public transportation. Yes, we want to invest in bike lanes. Yes, we want to make sure that people in the district and the city have the capability to transport themselves throughout the world without any issue. But we have only in Ward D 44,000 residents that also have cars. So we got to make sure that we build a multi-level public parking either across for the JCPD department or behind Burger King. Either we can do an initial investment, because I have numbers. I'm just not going to throw you promises here just empty. We need to invest at least $9 million to make that happen. Part of that can be collected when we apply for funding through the state, to the federal government, and part of it, because I don't want to put taxes and more strain on Ward D families, we can issue maybe munis, bonds within the city government, so funds can be allocated to do this project. We need to do both. Work with public transportation, also make sure that the residents of Ward D can get access to parking. Thank you.
Okay, question 4. This is about spending quantity and priorities. This is multiple choice. Please just give us your multiple choice answer. There's a follow-up question to expand. Catherine, you're going to be first. Municipal spending in Jersey City is too low, about right, or too high for our needs?
About right.
Thank you. Veronica.
I'm going to say about right as well.
Patrick.
About right.
Spending on the community too low.
Municipal spending, oh, too low? Okay,
Municipal spending is too low.
okay. Follow-up question is going to be, Veronica, you're going to be first. From your review of the city budget, where should we be spending materially less? Materially more? Please only consider city resources. No grants or help from the federal or state government.
Okay, so what I would like to.
You have 90 seconds.
Okay. So what I want to address is the tax abatements that the city has granted the developers and how these tax abatements don't go to our schools, and these tax abatements raise our property taxes and indirectly our rents. So the city needs to tax developers so that that money can then go towards the schools and relieve the residents of these skyrocketing tax increases. Our public safety budget, we need to keep neutral where it is. Part of our overtime from the public safety department is just ballooning our budget crisis. So we definitely need to keep that stable. We do need to increase infrastructure, our budget to infrastructure. That is currently $3 million, and that is way too low. We have a pedestrian safety issue, and so that we also have an understaffing problem in many of the city departments, including infrastructure. I would say we need to be smarter with how our money is spent. So we need to work smarter, not harder. And we do that by ensuring that our departments are
Thank you,
staffed.
that is time. Thank you.
So look, this is what I'll say. When you look at City Hall and you're looking for answers on how to get things done, where to go for departments, who to go to about complaints, you'll find out that most of our departments are woefully understaffed. So we have to get those up to par. I'll agree that the Department of Infrastructure is one of those departments that has not seen the amount of investment that it should. I would also say that, for Jersey City Police Department, what we have to fix with them is we have a retention issue. We're graduating so many classes, right? But that's because as new classes come in, the majority of the people that are just becoming police officers, they won't even stay 5 years, right? They'll go somewhere else, they'll make more money, and then we're in a circle where we're trying to hire more cops because more cops are leaving, but we need more cops. But we need to spend on making sure that we're able to give good benefits and a better pay tier to our police officers. So that way then in the long run, we don't have to continue spending on hiring more. And again, Department of Transportation is very important. We want to make sure that they have the staff and the ability and the funds to be able to do permanent daylighting, pedestrian safety initiatives. These are things that save lives, and these are things that I think the city needs to prioritize. Thank you.
So many different things that we can take this point, but the main thing that I believe that the city should be doing is provide more affordable housing for the residents, making sure that developers pay their part in taxes, make sure that the infrastructure of the streets are done. We have a problem with, enforcement throughout the city, whether it's the police, with public or pedestrian safety, whether it's calling the department just to get a service done. But we also have to save money finding who are those people that are in our payroll that we are paying taxes to and getting paid without working. We got to make sure that we revise whether an audit to see who actually is doing their job in the city, and whoever is not working and benefit of this community shouldn't be working, and we shouldn't be spending money on those things. At the end of the day, what is more important is to make sure that the taxes money that we invest in our community are invested back with us, the people of Ward D and the people of Jersey City. And as your next council person, I'm gonna do my best to have your ears, to have your eyes, to be accountable only to you, to ensure that the tax money that is spent and paid by the city, it comes back to this community. Thank you.
So to start to make a fully informed decision to this question or response to this question, we need to start with a full audit of our city budget. And that needs to be not just done for council people and the mayor to look at, but that needs to be transparent. It needs to be participatory with you all, the community involved in that process, so we can really look under the hood and see what's going on in every single department in our city, right? And to take an example, in the meantime, while we don't have that audit done, right, the police department, we don't see public safety on the ground. People aren't feeling public safety on the ground in the way that our community says it deserves, right? That we say we deserve and that we should deserve. And yet we're seeing a kind of top-heavy police budget where we have, 18 deputy captains. And meanwhile, we are woefully understaffed in terms of crossing guards to make sure that our kids can get to and from school safely. They're being paid pittance for their work. We need to make sure we stand up and fight for their union contract, right? The infrastructure department, I agree, woefully underfunded. We should have millions more coming into the infrastructure department. And again, this does go back to the abatements, as has been mentioned. Our city budget is being constrained by the fact that into the 2050s, we are still going to be paying for tax breaks for corporate developers. This is atrocious. We need to renegotiate as many of those abatement contracts as possible.
We cannot raise taxes. We cannot raise taxes. We cannot raise property taxes. Our property taxes have tripled. We're at, I want to say 13,000 for a small single family on Charles Street. That is outrageous. Our property taxes tripled on Charles Street. That in turn affects the rent. The rent then goes up. People don't realize that, but your rent increases. The landlord puts that tax increase onto their tenants. So we cannot raise taxes, and we will not raise taxes. We did do an audit actually of the city's spending and discovered that every contract we had entered into, we were charged 20% more than what we had contracted for. So we really need to enforce our contracts with our developers and with whatever the project is. Infrastructure-wise, we are in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what we're gonna do. Our sewer pipes are overloaded and they're exploding. I do know that McGreevy has some system of a camera that goes into the sewer lines to test its durability and whether or not it needs to be replaced. But
That is time.
it's gonna
Thank
cost
you.
billions.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is again multiple choice. Patrick will be starting. You'll be starting, but I didn't ask it yet. In exchange for their taxes, the services residents receive are a bargain, fair, or poor.
Poor.
Can you repeat the question?
In exchange for their taxes, the services residents receive are a bargain, fair, or poor.
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 Resoundingly poor.
Okay.
Said resoundingly poor.
Okay. This is the second part of that. If you think residents get poor service quality for their money, what tangible steps will you take to improve service quality, and when should we expect material improvement? You have 90 seconds. We're going to start with Elvin.
Sure. One of the biggest issues that I see throughout our city government and our district and the residents is very simple, which is the lack of communication. How hard it is to get in touch with the department, the city, and follow up with any particular issue that is affecting our neighborhoods. So being able to rely information on time and work with our community whenever there is a pothole, whenever there is a need for a stop sign, whenever you need a permit to open a business, that it doesn't become a hassle, right? Because there's a lot of people that had to go through so many different things to make that happen. So we also got to make sure that, especially in Ward D, you can see, because you see the neighbor city, the infrastructure, the streets are clean, the lights throughout the wards is very bright. We don't have that. And we as a community, paying taxes, relying our money to this city government, we deserve the leadership that is going to make sure whenever there is a need, there is a problem, is going to be on your side to make sure that these services are on your side. We are tired of promises. We are tired of excuses. We got to make sure that we have the right person that can hold whoever is in office, either is the person that is running with me for mayor below there or whoever is there, accountable and only respecting the will and the pleasure of the residents of Ward D. Thank you.
City services have been in many ways hollowed out by private contracts. Again, to bring up regional industries, our trash and recycling contract for resident services, $77.5 million for a company that does a crappy job with our service. And the president of regional industries is a donor to major political figures here in Jersey City. Contracts like Veolia privatizing our water. The privatization, I mean, we were just talking about this in my class at St. Peter's this week, privatization of our city services, we are not only paying for the service, we are paying for the profit that is made on top of that service. We need a long-term goal for bringing as many of our city services back under public control as possible. The way to get there is with an independent voice on city council. Again, we need independent from these corporate developers, from the real estate industry, and from pay-to-play contracts. I'm excited to be running this independent campaign. And when we get into office, we're going to open up the books and do really active participatory budgeting. That doesn't just mean we're sharing PDFs of the budget. That means we are calling mass town halls, community meetings, getting organizations like RNA and Pershing Neighborhood Association to come join and look at the budget together to figure out how we can get brighter street lights, how we can do the remunicipalization of our trash services, right? So this needs to be a participatory, transparent process, and we need an independent power to do that.
You will see tangible improvement in city services on day one. Anyone who's ever dealt with a city's permits department knows how challenging it is and how elongated it is. If you recall, when Governor McGreevey was governor, he was only there 2 years, and in his first year, he fixed our mess of DMV. If you recall, you would go to the DMV to get your driver's license, and it would take you 3 days to get your driver's license. McGreevey fixed that, and you get your driver's license in an hour. So yes, we're going to revamp the permits department. We are going to. It would be great to switch to waste management. Waste management was phenomenal. They were very professional in their garbage pickup before we switched to regional industries. However, what Jake is saying, that would be ideal to bring those services back to the city. The problem is that's going to be really difficult to do. So, I mean, great idea. How do we get back to that? Thanks.
Veronica.
Okay, so to address our spending efficiency, we need to look at what the root causes of our problems are. Again, I'm going to talk about the corruption that we see at play, the nepotism that we see at play in City Hall. There are a lot of people who are at City Hall, but who are not enforcing their department's rules and responsibilities. We also have poor morale. People need to be given direction. They need to be given proper wages. And we need to ensure that we are incentivizing our staff at City Hall. That's for one thing. Number two, while we're strained for capacity, we need to make sure that we are modernizing our systems. That is technology upgrades implemented on time. That includes 311C, fix, click, and our 911 response emergency systems. So we need to make sure that we are leveraging technology and modernizing where we can, because that also lifts the burden from those workers, and especially when we are, so resource strapped for capacity. We also need to stop plugging the budget with these MUA
That is
franchise
Thank you.
fees.
Patrick.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I want to do, is I want to meet with the SID. I want to see where their needs are and how we can get them as fast as possible trash cans throughout our districts, right? Whether that's Central Avenue or Palisade Avenue. I want to see how we can quickly move to the large bin containers for garbage day disposal. We want to talk about creating a SID on Palisade Avenue so we can continue to encourage the success of small businesses throughout Palisade Avenue, which is predominantly women-owned. So I think what we need to do is we need to support those two corridors. From there, we want to increase staffing into the Department of Public Works with our Parks Department. Currently, right now, we have about 15 full-time employees. Everything else is contracted out. We have 60-plus parks throughout our city. And the Heights has some of the most beautiful parks, but they are not well-maintained. And so, those are the tangible things in the first year that we want to make sure that we tackle, right? I also want to say, I go to the DMV, and it hasn't taken me an hour or two. It's taken me a day, and sometimes even two. I'll sleep over the place. So I don't know what's going on with DMV, but in the city of Jersey City, we have to make sure that we're staffing our agencies appropriately, and we're going to make sure we do that on day one. And in the first year, you'll see city staff. You'll see city staff in our Parks Department. You'll see city staff in our SID. You'll see an investment in our Central Avenue commercial district. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our next question is about independence from the mayor. The campaign materials we mainly see show the mayor's name more prominently than yours. Given how reliant council people generally are on their slate to get elected, how can we be confident our councilperson will be independent from the mayor? For our one independent candidate, why is running as an independent important to you? You have 90 seconds, Jake. Sorry.
Yeah, I am the only independent city council candidate on the stage, of course. I've sat down with some of the other mayoral candidates. I've actually been offered a spot on a slate, but I've chosen to be independent in this city council race because I only want to be beholden to working class families and our Ward D community, not the agenda of just any mayor who gets into office, and certainly not the agenda of any big donors that mayor team is getting. I mean, I am proud that my independence also means independence from any corporate developer money, any real estate industry money from anywhere, and any pay-to-play contract money. So this independence is really powerful, and it doesn't mean that we're alone. I'm very grateful to have the endorsement of our Democratic nominee for State Assembly, Katie Brennan, here in the 32nd District. I'm grateful to have the endorsement of the political organization that I call home, DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. I'm grateful for the endorsement of HPAE, the major healthcare union in the state of New Jersey, and other progressive groups and community groups, because what we're building is an independent coalition that can fight for working class families across Jersey City. That's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing since day one of this campaign. That's what I've been doing since before I was a candidate, and I hope to earn your support. So that's what we can do on City Council.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a very strong-minded, independent individual. I'm a criminal trial attorney. That's my background. I'm a former prosecutor. Then I went into, for 7 years, I was a prosecutor. Then I went into criminal defense. Now I do labor law and family law. So every day is a battle. And I'm in this race because I want to make the Heights the best it can be. And I'm going to do that. We're going to clean the streets. We're going to fix our parks. We're going to install water refill stations, clean water refill stations in every city department and every city park. We're going to restore those gorgeous historic bathrooms in Mosquito Park. We're going to put a splash pad in Mosquito Park. Ideally, we could rebuild the trees that were ripped out in the reservoir. So now when you walk around the reservoir, all you see is a streetscape, which defeats the whole purpose of the reservoir. By the way, developers tried to destroy the reservoir. My father, when he was the mayor, said, no, we're going to preserve the reservoir. So no one's getting in my way. Nobody's telling me what to do. It just so happens that the governor and I agree on pretty much every issue thus far. Thank you.
So Veronica.
So to me, this question needs to address leadership. And what I will say is, when considering throwing my hat in the ring, I looked at who could be our future mayor, right? Because our mayor is the executive and they set the agenda. And James Solomon has a strong record of leadership, a strong record of independence from the party machine. He has led several initiatives that are aimed at improving life for working families here, right? So that's one thing I just want to highlight, that leadership is very important, especially executive leadership. And when you do have a council that shares a similar vision, I'm not saying is a rubber stamp, that is something very different, because each neighborhood has unique challenges and unique needs. And when I worked for Michael Youn, the late Councilman Michael Youn, I learned that. So you can be rest assured that if elected as your council person, I'm going to be very vocal about the needs of the people here in the Heights, in City Hall. And that is something that I am committed to doing. I also want to say that there's also independence from political parties too, that we need to consider here. I have led—
That is time. Thank
Okay.
you. Patrick.
So look, I think out of the majority of the candidates up here, I'm the only one that has been involved in the community for the last 15 years in actual tangible benefits to the community, right? Whether it be with the Jersey City Parks Coalition or improving our open space. And those are, I'll be honest with you, they're battles with the administration. You know, when we wanted to fix up Mosquito Park, one of the big reasons it wasn't is because they said, no one uses this park, right? I didn't just sit there and take it and say, okay, yeah, good, okay, no one uses the park. No, we fought. We fought every single day to make sure that the services are there for you. We made sure every single day that your voice is heard on the renovations of that park and on the renovations of the reservoir as well. I mean, there has been so many projects that we've been a part of that have benefited from your input. Now, if I'm your Ward D City Council candidate, I'll be honest, I don't care who's the mayor. What I want is I want to make sure that residents in Ward D are being taken care of. We've already done the work. We're going to continue doing the work in City Hall. Thank you.
So maybe most of you know me now because I'm running for city council as a politician, but I always label myself as a community activist. For the last 17 to 18 years, maybe some of the candidates here were in high school or even college, I've been helping this community nonstop. First, in 2011, I started taking a petition to get a traffic light on the corner of Summit and Poplar Street that the candidate for Mr. Solomon, Veronica, can enjoy right now with her family to cross the street most safely. I helped to organize the largest small business association on the county, the Hispanic American Commerce Association, HACA. I have helped for the last, 8 years, because I ran independently, for those who don't know, as a council person at large in 2021. There is nobody, whether it's Bill O'Day or whoever else get elected, that is going to tell me what to do. The last thing that I'm going to do as a person that loves this community, as a person who has sacrificed so much to represent the people of Ward D, is to get pushed around by developers or political interests. There are people over there that I'd rather have you as a part of the political affiliation or ideology. I want you to be a person that enjoys living in Ward D with the beautiful diversity that we have here, embracing this great community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next two questions are about street safety and transit. So this is part one. Just stick with this question. If the city doesn't implement the mayor's proposal to turn Baldwin and Summit fully into one-way streets to accommodate a rapid bus transit lane and protected bike lane, will you take ownership for introducing and supporting legislation during your term to implement these changes? This one's starting with you, Catherine.
Is this a real proposal? Was this discussed? It was? Okay. It was my understanding that our current mayor and the county exec and McGreevy had all sat down and discussed a rapid transit lane on Kennedy Boulevard. That was the last that I heard, and they were going to proceed with that. Excuse me, Jules? Oh, yeah, no, Kennedy Boulevard is going to proceed because everyone agreed on it. You're saying if Summit Ave does not, okay, what does the vast majority of the community think? I think we would have to poll the various neighborhood organizations, Washington Park Association, RNA, I mean, not just two special interest groups. So I would poll the community. What does the majority of the community want? And that's what we would do on something like this. Because look at what happened on the south side of the city when the neighborhood was not informed and we tried to do this in Greenville. It was chaos. The neighborhood
that
flipped
is
out.
time. Thank you.
So everyone would be on notice.
Next will be Veronica.
I put on my glasses so I could read the question. I would support this. This is what we need. We need to improve our public transportation. We have traffic delays. We obviously need solutions, and I think that this is something that would really help ease traffic congestion, ease our bus delays, and I support this.
Thank you. Sure. If the city doesn't implement the mayor's proposal to turn Baldwin and Summit fully into one-way streets to accommodate a bus rapid transit lane and protected bike lane, will you take ownership for introducing and supporting legislation during your term to implement these changes?
100%. I think when you look throughout our city, Ward D has actually seen the least amount of pedestrian safety measures throughout Jersey City. And I think that's something that needs to change. And I think another thing is that we want Ward D council candidates that actually know what's going on in our community, not just asking during a debate or a forum. And so look, we want to make sure that we are getting community feedback, but we already have, right? We've talked to residents. We've worked with Hudson County Complete Streets, Bike JC, to see what's going on in the community. We absolutely need to support this initiative, create more protected bike lanes, and invest in our transportation. Again, I want to invest in transportation with a city-run bus line. If we can do it with the BRT as well, we should. If the county doesn't want to do it, we'll find how to do it through city streets. We're not going to be held back by either the county's inaction or our mayoral inaction. We want to make sure we're leading first here in Ward D. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So this is a very sensitive issue for the people that live in Ward D. And I have said it many times, even when I first started running with Hudson County View, I'm supportive of bike lanes. I am supportive for improvements for pedestrian safety, but we have to be responsible. And what I mean by responsible, we have to go to the community where the bike lanes are going to be installed. We have to be inclusive. I want to have notices in different languages so people that don't speak English, speak different languages can be inclusive of what's going on. I want to sit down on the table with the different business owners that are going to be affected because the trucks cannot come in to deliver drop or pick up, the suppliers. Just saying because it's the popular answer, yes, I support bike lanes and I support transportation. I think it's irresponsible for the candidates because at the end of the day, you got to hold yourself accountable to the residents who live in Jersey City. And by that, I'm not saying that I'm not supporting it. What I'm saying is I want to hold myself accountable to having meetings and conversations to make sure that I understand exactly what is the point of view of the residents that live in that particular area. If you don't remember, not long ago, the current council person here was able to get the bike lanes on Franklin Avenue. There was a lot of people that were very upset because the process did not include the residents and the people that live in the area. And as a council person, sometimes people lean to one side of the table. You got to make sure that you're inclusive and support projects that the community support. Thank you so much.
So the short answer is yes, I support this. And, absolutely this needs to happen with inclusive communication, being transparent, bringing more people into the political process, because we will get that kind of blowback when people just see a plan happen from under their eyes, right? We need to actively be communicating with people. I mean, this is why I, as an organizer, think it's important to run for city council, because organizers bring town halls together, community meetings together, and actually organize the community around the common concerns we have. Now, with that said, streets should not be about prioritizing being able to go 50 miles an hour down pothole-riddled Summit Avenue. Streets should be about safety, people being able to get from place to place safely. I mean, we are still coming off of a summer where Eli Bender was killed. I mean, his death and the death of every single person to traffic violence should be heavy in our hearts when we're thinking about proposals like these. And we need to take that so seriously when we're thinking about, not just protected bike lanes and bus rapid transit, but every kind of infrastructural improvement that we need in street safety. And so there's some more. I know we're going to have another part to the question that we can dig into that a bit more with, but the answer is yes, support this.
Okay, relationship with, we're gonna skip the second part of that just because of time. Sorry. Relationship with schools and the Board of Ed. Do you think residents are better off in the city if the city appoints members to the Board of Ed? If so, what tangible benefits for the students would the city appointment bring? If not, what, if any, do you think the municipal government's relationship with the schools should be? You have 90 seconds, and this is going to be Veronica first.
Okay, so I think that there are benefits, there are pros and cons to having the city government appoint board members. I would say that in general, we need the city council, the mayor, and the Board of Ed need to strengthen their relationship and strengthen accountability and transparency. That is something that absolutely needs to happen. When I worked for the city in the Office of Innovation, one way that we tried to strengthen ties with the Board of Education was by joint initiatives. We looked at transforming blacktops in schools into green spaces. And this is something that we had to work very closely with the Board of Education on. And it was a relationship building exercise that also provided community benefits. So I am not gonna say, I don't think that right now we're at a point where the city needs to appoint members to the Board of Education. If we look over time, things I think are improving to some degree in terms of the relationship, and people can refute me on that. But I do think endorsing board of members is a very good way to signal to
that
constituents.
is time. Thank you.
So I think that appointing board members should be kind of the last option that we have. I think one of the things that we should try to protect is the democratic process. You guys have kids. You have kids in public schools. You guys know what's going on. You guys should have a voice in who's going to represent the schools at the Board of Education. The other thing is, I do think that we should be more hands-on in endorsing candidates who, again, have a stake in the community. When you look past the Board of Education, is seen as like a stepping stone. We have former elected officials on it. We have people looking to run for higher office. What we need as parents. We need professionals to take to be able to run for office, and we should be able to endorse them and support them, and make sure that you guys know who they are. The other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we're helping our school board in any way that we can by creating green space in what is asphalt playgrounds. I mean, look at PS28 over here. I grew up playing on just what seems like a parking lot, right? So if there's any way that we can do that, we absolutely will. Again, last choice is an appointed board. We want to make sure we keep democracy alive and that democracy is playing a role in our school board. Thank you.
So for many years, the relationship between the city government and the JCVOE has been awful. It has been a lot of pointing fingers and blaming who's doing what and what. What we believe is, number one, we got to make sure that we work together to ensure that the state completely funded our schools so our kids get a better education, better infrastructure, better curriculum, and work together with the VOE, having meetings and talking about issues that we can help our kids in their future. Now, I do not believe that appointing VOE members is going to help us at all. It's just going to create another loophole where corruption and greedy politicians are going to come and going to get the people in the BOE with a budget that exceeds the $1 billion. So as a community activist, as a father of three beautiful boys, my kid is in a special need and PS 39, I want to see people that truly love and care the children of Jersey City and our public school running and representing our community. Even now, if I'm not mistaken, the kids with 17 years old are able to vote and able to enroll in this democratic process. So the last resort, or I don't want to see at all, is a mayor deciding who's going to be the VOE members in our community. Thank you.
We're gonna hold applause till the end to save on time, please. Thank you to the audience.
Yeah, I also don't think this is the right move to just start having mayor or the city appoint the BOE. Elections are good. We're running for office here, right? Elections are great. And obviously we need to improve the relationship between the BOE, not only in the BOE and the city, but the BOE and community and parents, right? This has been a strained relationship. I think at the city council level, there's some to be done. And as city council people, we should not be afraid to go to Trenton and fight for more of the money that the state of New Jersey has been clawing away from Jersey City public schools. If we fixed the school funding formula to not be so heavily weighted toward the high incomes that some people have in Jersey City and actually attend more heavily to the fact that 50% of kids in Jersey City public schools qualify for free and reduced lunch, we would be owed so much more money from Trenton to go into our public school budget. I mean, 50% of students qualifying for free and reduced lunch, enormous English language learner population. We have a large disability student population here in the Heights in Ward D. I mean, these are the things that are not getting attention, and we need to go fight with our partners in Trenton to make sure that we get more of what we deserve. In addition, I think we should be, as a city, directing a freeze of the expansion of charter schools, because that is seeing public school money flowing out from our public schools.
Thank you. Catherine, no applause, please.
Thank you. So initially, I had supported the mayoral appointed board. And then I sat down with the Board of Ed and they educated me on the issue. What happens if you get a tyrant as a mayor or someone very corrupt? Then things go haywire. I said, great point. And they also said that, look, we have nothing to do with spending. The Board of Ed has nothing to do with spending. They're under an obligation to, their fiduciary duty is to pass that budget. So it's not the board that's coming up with this budget. It's the system. It's Communipaw Ave. And so relationship with the board is everything. Our team has already started that. We've already started our meetings with the Board of Ed to roll out new programs in our schools. We're bringing phonics back into our schools. We're bringing books back into our schools to limit children's screen time. Also, the school funding formula, the only person who's going to be able to change that with his friends in Trenton is Governor McGreevey. He's the only one who's going to change that funding formula and do it the right way that Jake had recommended, where we go based on
Okay, that
the
is
income.
time. Thank you. To Veronica. Oh, sorry. Might need to hear the question. Our roads, sidewalks, and streetscapes are in objectively poor condition. What have been the key bottlenecks to improving their quality? What's your plan for eliminating them, and when can we expect a material improvement? If your proposal is for more financial investment, please give us a sense of how much. Veronica, you can begin.
Okay.
Or no, Patrick, I'm sorry.
Oh, me?
Yeah, sorry.
So I'm going to be honest. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Our roads, sidewalks, and streetscapes are in objectively poor condition. What have been the bottlenecks to improving their quality? What's your plan for eliminating them, and when should we expect a material improvement? If your proposal is for more financial investment, please give us a sense of how much.
So look, we've seen development across our city. But one thing that we don't see is we don't see City Hall requiring developers to actually fix the roads as they're building, and there's a bunch of construction throughout our city, right? So that's one. We want to make sure that developers are improving the streetscape, they're improving the paving of the road. The other thing we want to do is we want to keep PSE&G, we want to keep them in check. Because, when they go in, there's a street that's newly paved, what happens? They come in, they dig up a little hole, they patch up. I don't know who does. I think I do it because it's not done well. I mean, it's one of those things where, it just stinks in within 6 months, right? What we want to do is we want to hold them accountable. If we need to, we want to take them to court to make sure that they're paying fines so that if we have to fix it, we fix it. Right now, the roads are in terrible conditions because PSE&G tears them up, Viola tears them up, and they're not fixing them correctly. And that's not fair to you, the taxpayers, because you're already paying for the services. So we want to hold PSE&G accountable. We want to make sure that they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing and that they do it right. Thank you.
Elvin, go ahead. No applause till the end, please.
So I completely agree with Patrick. I mean, that's partially the problem. We got to make sure that developers, when they destroy our streets, they'll not only fix the road, also the sewers, that PSE&G come in, they destroy the streets as well, they also fix it. But we got to talk about reality, not just promises. Currently, the city have a budget for about $50 million that they distribute in the 6 different wards. So that money is not enough to really bring realistically the improvements that we need. We have to find ways to raise more money, whether it's going outside of the city government, finding resources with grants or different state supporting agencies. Something that we have to look is also hold accountable the multinationals that we have in downtown Jersey City. We got a payroll tax that also help the BOE and the public system, so we can collect more money instead of putting it on the backs, on the expenses of the residents of Ward D. We want to make sure that everybody pay their share. So let's work together to find ways, whether it's overspending of the budget, right? Because I cannot tell you how much it's going to be. I need to see the numbers. I haven't mastered in accounting and I haven't mastered in finance. And then we can allocate the resources to make sure that Ward D can look even better than the neighborhood city, with lights everywhere, with pedestrian safety throughout the streets, with bike lanes and public transportation for all. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are in agreement on some of these issues. We have contractors and we have PSE&G and other folks coming, digging up our streets. And I think one of the critical pieces here is that we need supervisors from Jersey City out there when they are doing these repavings, so that we're not just trying to follow up on a really bad job that was already done, but that we can be there in real time, making sure that they do the right job right away. And for bad actors who fail to do that, yes, let's collect some more money in our city budget by finding them and making sure that we have the resources and the money from these companies that do a bad job to actually put toward repaving those roads. It's hard to be able to do that and hold these kinds of contractors accountable if you're also getting money from those same contractors that are doing the really bad job on our infrastructure, from our sidewalks to our roads too. So again, it's important to have an independent political force to be able to push back against these companies that take our quality of life for granted and just treat this as an investment opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with the other candidates. Our roads are out of control, and these developers and other contractors tear up our roads and leave them a mess. And it's because they haven't been held accountable. We have to start holding these contractors accountable. You can't do that. I thought that was part of the contract, and we're just not enforcing it. So we need better monitoring of these job sites. Also, we cannot increase the budget. We can't do it. The taxpayers are spent. There are a ton of federal grants for roads, sidewalks that we have missed out on. I know that because a senator told me that we missed out on several $1 million for paving of our roads, because I believe we just never applied for it. So our team is, day one, we're going to start a grants department with grants professionals to bring in as much money as possible for our green space, for preservation, for paving of our roads and sidewalks. Thank you.
Veronica.
What we need to do is conduct an audit of every street, identify where the biggest problem areas are, and then we need to start addressing them. We are also doing road repairs very piecemeal. So in addition to the underlying problems that folks have addressed, being enforcement and compliance, we need better planning. And so I am committed to supporting an audit, supporting prioritizing which streets need the most attention, and then addressing the coordination problem that we have. We need departments to talk more to each other. We need, again, more modernized technology that is going to allow us to see where repairs are currently happening or which streets are having development, and have a more structural approach to addressing some of these issues. And it was noted that inspectors are giving developers certificates of occupancy when they have not repaired the roads that they destroyed. So we absolutely need to eliminate that issue. But again, we need to address infrastructure in a more comprehensive way, and we need to fix our coordination and planning of that.
Okay. This next question, you're only going to have 60 seconds. Okay, I'm going to ask the question now. Non-criminal enforcement. Jersey City's current enforcement regime is for non-criminal infractions. Things like speeding, biking on the sidewalk, short-term rentals, and noise is much too aggressive, about right, not aggressive enough. What enforcement? In 1 minute, feel free to add color. This is 1 minute, not 90 seconds. Starting with Elvin.
What enforcement, for sure.
Yeah, I would say it's not aggressive enough.
Yeah, there's no enforcement.
What enforcement? Thank you.
Yeah, what enforcement?
Okay.
Oh, we had 60 seconds.
Okay, yeah, okay. Now you can add 60 seconds.
So I'll start since I have the mic already.
No,
Okay.
it's Elvin. Go ahead.
So there are many petty crimes that happen throughout Ward D, whether they steal our packages for Amazon, whether somebody just leave the waste of the door behind, whether somebody just going to in the store to start shoplifting. We got to make sure that we have the right enforcement and the amount of police officers available to do this. As it has been said before, the police right now is short about 80 police officers. They move from the different municipality because they don't get paid enough. The salaries when they start, even though the top, they get paid a lot of money. When you start as a Rocky officer, you start about with $40,000. You're gonna put your life at risk because you're gonna earn $40,000. Not a lot of people is willing to do that. At the end of the day, we gotta work with the police to make sure that they fully staffed, that they get paid with dignity, and we gotta get sure that they go out there and enforce. Go get these people that are stealing, people that are wasting. Make sure that we do that. Thank you.
So I think some of the enforcement specifically that we should be more aggressive about is basic stuff like property owners being responsible for the trash in front of their homes. This is, one end of the enormous trash problem that we have, but we need inspectors going out there making sure that people actually are taking care of the property that they are responsible for. Obviously, this needs to be done in tandem with changing our trash contract, bring that back in-house, so on and so forth. But people need to actually be taking responsibility. Landlords, absentee landlords, notoriously are going to be leaving their apartments or their vacant lots that they own with trash all around them. We need to be really aggressive about that kind of enforcement specifically.
So the short-term rentals, I thought that we were enforcing that through the Jersey City Municipal Court had their own department that was going out and issuing those fines. So the police didn't need to do that. The same thing with the garbage, but we need to be more aggressive with that. And as to these absentee slumlords, we need to start remediating their property, using a small business owner, place a lien on the house, and recover that money in the long run. That's number one. Number two, regarding issues that do need police enforcement, like the Title 39 violations, the speeding tickets. Those, you do need a police officer, or you could use an auxiliary police department to also issue those tickets. Now, an auxiliary police officer, there's a ton of grant money out there for it. The regular JCPD, we don't have enough JCPD to do it.
Okay, that is time, Veronica.
So speeding is the number one issue and most dangerous consequence of the lack of enforcement here. Cars speeding through our neighborhood is extremely dangerous to pedestrians, to bicyclists, and to other motorists. Of course, everyone needs to obey the rule of the roads, and we need to make sure we're doing more to educate people on what those rules are. But again, speeding enforcement is the most dangerous matter that we have to worry about, because this is lives here that we're dealing with. So what we need, JCPD needs a dedicated traffic division, and we can create that from our existing pool of officers. That is the number one thing that we need to do here. I think we also need more cops out walking the streets, and we need accountability.
That is time. Thank you. Patrick.
Yes, so again, what we're seeing is a lack of not enough investment in our city departments, right? You look at the enforcement, you have like one person for each ward for sanitation, right? That's not enough. So we need more. So we need to fund that more. We need a traffic unit so that we can make sure that pedestrian safety is in conjunction with that. On top of that, one thing we want to make sure we're doing is, again, we're solving the retention issue for the Jersey City Police Department so that we can have the force within each ward. Right now, most of our force in Ward D ends up going to the south side. You guys are paying the same tax dollars as everyone else. You guys deserve the enforcement here. And we want to make sure that the city spent money on buying bikes for police officers. It was good for one summer. Now, I know bikes last a long time. You're able to put people on bikes. You're able to put them on motorcycles, and we should be doing that. We shouldn't have those bicycles just wasting at DPW.
That is time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Closing state question. Underappreciated passion. Is there any idea you're passionate about seeing implemented that we may not know about from your campaigning thus far? You're going to have 2 minutes, and we're going to start with Jake.
Sure. So I think people do know that I'm really passionate about winning rent control for every single tenant in Jersey City, but I want to take the opportunity to explain a little bit more about why this is so critical in our city. Obviously, no one needs a reminder about the cost of living crisis that we're facing, and that we are in a city of 70% renters. This is the vast majority of us. But having this critical expansion of our municipal code 260 to cover every single tenant equally under the law from egregious rent hikes will be an incredible boon for the Heights, the Slopes, all of Ward D, all of Jersey City. One problem that we're facing right now is that we have historically rent-controlled buildings that have been chopped up into individual condos owned by LLCs, and that has decimated rent control and shot up the cost of living and the price of housing in our city. If we can expand rent control to make sure that these LLCs, which get converted out of being apartments that are part of historically rent-controlled buildings, and make sure that they're back under the jurisdiction of Code 260, we will bring so many more people in our city, so many more of the tenants in our city under the same protections that all of us deserve. So these condo conversions and being able to attack these head on and address the cost of living concerns for 70% of our city, this is one of the biggest, most important attacks against the cost of living crisis that we can attend to right now. And so this is why it's one of the signature parts of the platform that we've been running on to make sure that, yes, renters are able to stay in their homes, but also, of course, attending to housing as a human right for everyone and addressing the cost of living crisis for everyone, including working family homeowners.
So over the years, Jersey City has become more hostile towards families. And we have all seen more and more families get pushed out to the suburbs. Just 10 families last month picked up and moved out because the quality of life here is very difficult. Our parks are not in the best shape. Our streets are dangerous. We have zero enforcement. So when you're out on the streets as a pedestrian, you need to be extra cautious out there, because if you get into an incident, the police are not going to come when you call. And it's not because they don't want to come, it's because they're totally short-staffed and they're dealing with a shooting or a stabbing or a domestic violence incident. So your street safety is not their priority, unfortunately. So street safety, making Jersey City friendly again for families, improving our schools, improving our parks, clean streets, more recreation for our children. We have zero recreation right now. Better lighting on our streets, like just the very basic things that municipal government does. We need to do it and do it well. The traffic issue, traffic has been snarled. We no longer use a civil engineer to assist with these developments. Instead, we shut down 3 consecutive roads and then traffic is snarled. We stopped using civil engineers. We have to bring our civil engineers back. Just quality of life in general. We have to stop cutting down our trees. We need to preserve our trees. Cleaner air. Our air is terrible. We got to get off the plastics. Clean drinking water. And we need to teach our students this in our schools. We need to teach them pedestrian safety.
Sorry.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Time.
Thank you.
Veronica.
So in addition to prioritizing working families in the Heights, in addition to addressing affordability, safety, and accountability, one thing I'm very passionate about is community engagement. And one of the first things that I will do if elected is to make sure that Ward D has an on-site office to deal with constituent matters on the ground. I think that is extremely important. I think residents need somewhere to go where they can interact consistently and regularly with their council person. This is the way that the council person is grounded and rooted in the community and present. So that is one thing that I would fight for. The city only gave annexes or on-prem sites to wards A, B, and F, but not the Heights. And we know that Michael Youn had an office on the Heights where people could go to because that was something that he owned privately, right? We need to make sure that we are connecting people on the ground to government. So while there are so many important policies that we need to fight for, affordability being number one and keeping people here, we also need to really focus on democracy and community engagement. And so that is what I would prioritize, is getting space here in the Heights.
So one thing I'm very passionate about is revitalizing Central Avenue. I think one way that we're able to do that is by looking at the Burger King parking lot redevelopment zone. What I'd like to do there is establish within that parking lot space a pedestrian plaza with a 4-story parking garage and focus development on entertainment, restaurants, bars, outdoor dining options. Because when you go and you knock on people's doors and you ask them, what do you like about Central Avenue? And they say, there's not much on Central Avenue. I can't really buy my clothes there. And the options on Central Avenue, they're getting old, right? One thing we want to make sure we're doing is we're investing in small businesses, right? And we are using that pedestrian plaza space as a way to focus sustainability, increase our tree canopy, reduce flooding, and making sure that we're able to have space for city offices. Again, we've lost parking enforcement used to be there. The senior center is there, but we want to make sure we're bringing in a council office and other resources so that Heights residents don't have to go to City Hall or the annex. They can stay here in Ward D. And again, by improving small businesses, we want to make sure we're working with the Jersey City EDC, which has new leadership, and I hope that that really brings in new blood and new life so that we can start offering grant facade grants and other grants to, again, continue the need to improve Central Avenue and small businesses in Ward D. Thank you.
Well, I'm very passionate about Ward D and all the different options that we can get our neighborhood better. That's why I put my platform that talk about affordability, quality of life, and public safety. But something that we have been doing, that we are the only candidate doing it, is we solving problems right now. We helping people right now. So for instance, the Pershing Field Park was needing 2 public bulletin boards. We were able to lobby with the city and they have it right there. Another example, the Western Slope Garden, they needed to remove a guardrail, was there for the last, 10 years. We were able to lobby that and make it happen. Riverview Park for the 4th of July was needing the assistance of the police in order to protect exotic plants around the gazebo. We were able to do that. There was a neighbor on Ogden Street that have somebody park in front of the house 4 months, saying bad words, causing the children and family. We were able to work with the police to make that happen. So for me, as a leader and a community activist, what is more important is to have a good relationship with the community. And that's why I want to create what I call the Neighborhood Commission Board. This board is going to be composed of leaders, community activists, and people that work in nonprofits that can come to the office, rely on the services of the council office of Ward D, work directly with the city government, and make sure that everything that is needed for this community is done. Something that we want to do is that we want to have quarterly meetings with the representatives of all the different departments to make sure that they are whole accountable. So if there is a pothole that needs to be filled, if there is an issue with our parks and streets, we had to make sure that we have those conversations. And I'm gonna tell you right now that I have all the answers. And that's why this has to be inclusive, and we gotta bring people to the table that is willing to do the work. Thank you.
Great, thank you guys so much. PS28 actually supervisors the hostess and he would clean up the place. So everybody can see out. Candidates, this was fun. Hopefully.
The candidates will be outside on the sidewalk if they have the time for it, and you can ask questions there.
Can we take a quick picture of us?